Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. I already covered today's two anniversaries and I will link to them below. So what I'm going to offer you today is a little bit more of a very interesting discussion Tim Pool hosted between Kristan Hawkins, a pro-life speaker, and Pastor Ryan Phipps, who is a very strong advocate of it's kind of hard if you listen. I'll link to the first video in this series below. He kind of makes it sound like he's allowing abortion up until you're about 5 years old, from what he's describing, makes you human. You'll hear in the video I linked to below, he starts talking about you know being alive versus being capable of making plans. And there's not a newborn that's capable of making plans. You don't start making plans until you're a preschooler at the very least. So he's kind of fuzzy-headed. And we are going to pick up where Tim kind of starts probing a little what it is this fellow believes. So again, this is a pastor who is adamantly in support of certainly abortion up until birth. And if you listen to his description of what kind of life deserves protection, he's describing a toddler. But again, you listen to that below.
Is that the threshold for when inalienable rights kick in? When you can think and function for yourself or experience or feel?
I think that what it comes down to is that there should not be a legislative force that is making that decision.
So he's not answering Tim's question.
For a woman.
Okay, so he has not answered Tim's question. Tim is asking, is this the point at which we start protecting life? He says there should be no legislative force making the decision for the woman. And I will also link below, let me make a note so I don't forget. There's a video of a Planned Parenthood attorney indicating that even after, if a baby is born alive during an abortion, the mother, the family, the doctor, she's kind of fuzzy about who makes the decision, should be allowed to decide whether you take this baby to the NICU or just wrap it in a towel and let it die. So he definitely sounds like he's in the wrap it in a towel and let it die camp. Like I said, he was really fuzzy. Tim tried to pin him down and had no luck.
That should be her choice.
But the question is you have to answer, because I'm pro-choice of many things. I'm speaking as the only female here. I believe women should have the right to choose if they marry, who they marry, what education, sorry, the education, their career, their health care. But I don't think I, as a woman, get to choose whether or not a human being has value or gets to live. Because it's not, I think that's what has to get answered at this whole debate level, when you start saying, well, I don't think the state should legislate. Well, why do we have laws? Right? There's a lot of debate about how many laws we have, overuse of laws. And that's a serious conversation that we can have. But I think that fundamentally, the purpose of government is to create laws and have laws that at the very fundamental level ensure that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Okay, so she's pretty clear there on what the purpose of law is.
And to limit others from doing harm to us that prevent us from having life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And so when we're discussing abortion laws and making laws about abortion, we have to be able to answer the question of what is inside of a woman. Is what is inside of a woman just clumps of meaningless cells? Because if there's just clumps of cells and it's not human life,
I'm kind of disappointed that she doesn't follow through on the fact that he sounded an awful lot like he was advocating for post-birth abortions, because he was starting to describe, like I said, you need to be able to think and plan and choose before you're a valuable life. I think she should have held his feet to the fire about that, but we'll see where she goes with this.
There's no abortion debate. There's no justification you need to go and have as many abortions as you want. But if abortion is killing a unique human life that as a Christian and as you're a Christian that was created in the image of God, if it's ending the life of a human being,
You've just brought religion into a second.
Okay, so again, she pointed out the very fundamental stand that a lot of pro-lifers take, which is if abortion kills a human being, then there can be no justification for it. If it doesn't kill a human being, there doesn't need to be a justification for it. So, and of course, I fall into the former camp. This is a human being. You can't justify killing that baby. He's falling into the camp of it's a vague thing and we can't tell her what to do. So again, he's kind of fuzzy. She's crystal clear.
Debate, which just doesn't hold water.
Kristan made a mistake by bringing up religion. I think she did that because he says he's a pastor. So, how does he as a Christian justify abortion? But I think that those are two very separate issues, and I think she made a mistake in bringing them together here.
I can make a scientific argument that it's a human being, that it's alive, and that it has value and shouldn't be killed. Because if we start saying that there's different degrees of value of persons, that if you're a born person, you have more value than a preborn person, or if you're, taller than a shorter person, or if you're older, more intellectually developed than a younger person, that becomes a very dangerous, slippery slope.
I actually think it's the inverse. My view is...
I do too.
Well,
okay, I want to hear what Tim says, because Tim thinks... I don't know what Tim thinks. I know what this pastor is going to say, which he's going to say, there is no slippery slope. Did you cut is it out of the body or is it in the body? No problem. That's what I'm predicting.
Oh, no, I think the scientific argument would lead us to the complete and total banning of abortion nationwide, and the religious argument would actually...
Oh.
The reason being the concept of ensouling. Are you familiar with ensouling?
Okay, so you can tell that Tim's not a Christian, but it's a very interesting take, Tim.
Like, as in soul,
Yeah,
psyche,
like your spiritual
essence
being.
of, yeah.
There's a question over when does a human become ensouled,
Yes.
and then become an entity. And
Sure.
if there's a spiritual argument, then the argument is, well, babies aren't ensouled. They're not. They're
Yeah.
not functioning among themselves, so it doesn't matter. The scientific argument is, however, the qualifications for inalienable rights under the Constitution would be that you are a individual with a unique human life. Therefore, according to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment specifically, your life, liberty, and property cannot be deprived without due process. So the secular scientific argument would ban abortion.
Woo, Tim. That is such a pithy point that I'm going to end it there, and we will continue on another date.